In Mansfield Park, Maria Bertram is a striking figure of elegance and entitlement, whose trajectory from aristocratic confidence to social disgrace serves as a cautionary tale in Jane Austen's moral landscape. As the eldest daughter of Sir Thomas Bertram, Maria begins the novel secure in her social position, admired for her beauty and manners. However, her eventual elopement with Henry Crawford, while she was still married to another man, leads to scandal and exile. Austen uses Maria not simply to illustrate personal failure, but to critique a society that prizes appearance and status over virtue and substance. Through Maria, the novel explores themes of vanity, social performance, moral education, and the gendered consequences of transgression. Narrative role. Maria's role in the narrative is essential both structurally and morally. In the early chapters, she is presented as a privileged and confident young woman, raised in comfort at Mansfield Park and assured of her social desirability. Her engagement to Mr. Rushworth, a wealthy but foolish man, is portrayed as a purely transactional arrangement, driven not by affection but by financial security and social status. Despite her lack of respect for Rushworth, Maria proceeds with the engagement, underscoring her calculated and superficial nature. Maria's flirtation with Henry Crawford, however, introduces a critical plotline. Her attraction to Henry is grounded in vanity and the thrill of being admired. Henry, a practiced flirt, feeds her ego and inflames her resentment toward her dull fiancé. Though he eventually shifts his attention to Fanny Price, his earlier involvement with Maria plants the seeds for future transgression. Once married to Rushworth, Maria's frustration grows, and when Henry reappears, the two elope, an act of defiance that triggers the novel's climactic scandal. Maria's fall is decisive. She is socially ostracized, her marriage is destroyed, and she is ultimately sent to live in seclusion with her Aunt Norris. This narrative arc, rising pride followed by a fall from grace, mirrors the moral pattern of many classical and biblical stories, reinforcing Austen's interest in the ethical consequences of actions. Symbolic significance. Symbolically, Maria represents the dangers of vanity and the emptiness of a moral education based solely on appearances. From the outset, she is praised for her beauty and social accomplishments. However, the novel reveals that these superficial attributes conceal a lack of depth and moral guidance. Her inability to resist temptation stems not from inherent wickedness, but from a character formed in an environment that values polish over principle. Maria's downfall also operates as a critique of the performative nature of upper-class femininity. Her charm and elegance are cultivated to attract a suitable husband, but they do not prepare her for genuine ethical choices or emotional resilience. When her external world no longer validates her, Maria's internal emptiness is exposed. In this way, Austen aligns Maria with a broader symbolic critique of Regency society's failure to provide women with meaningful moral agency. Furthermore, Maria's elopement with Henry Crawford, who ultimately refuses to marry her, reflects the double standards applied to male and female sexuality. While Henry is able to retreat from the scandal relatively unscathed, Maria is disgraced permanently. Her symbolic role thus extends to highlighting the asymmetry of gender expectations. Women bear the burden of social and moral failure more severely than men. Maria functions as a foil to Fanny Price, the novel's moral center. Where Fanny is modest, introspective, and principled, Maria is proud, impulsive, and concerned with outward appearances. This contrast is not merely between personalities but between two worldviews, one shaped by sincerity and internal virtue, the other by performance and entitlement. Through this contrast, Austen underscores the novel's central moral argument that integrity and self-knowledge are more valuable than beauty, charm, or wealth. Broader implications. Maria's story reflects the broader social anxieties of Austen's time, particularly concerning the limited roles available to women and the consequences of sexual impropriety. In the rigidly stratified world of Mansfield Park, a woman's value is often reduced to her beauty, wealth, and marriage prospects. Maria's choice to marry Mr. Rushworth, whom she despises, highlights the economic pressures and lack of autonomy that upper-class women often faced. Yet, Maria's subsequent elopement and disgrace also reveal the perils of rebelling against that system without an ethical compass. While her desire for romantic and personal freedom may seem sympathetic, her methods, infidelity, deceit, and abandonment of duty render her fall morally justified in Austen's eyes. This complex portrayal suggests that while Austen critiques the constraints placed upon women, she also demands personal responsibility and inner virtue as prerequisites for meaningful freedom. In the novel's final reckoning, Maria is removed from society, living in seclusion with Mrs. Norris, who shares her culpability. This punishment, while harsh, is consistent with the moral logic of the narrative. Austen does not portray Maria as irredeemable, but she does imply that genuine reintegration into society requires repentance and moral transformation. Steps Maria is not shown to take. Conclusion. Maria Bertram is a pivotal figure in Mansfield Park, serving as both a narrative catalyst and a symbol of Austen's moral and social critique. Her descent from aristocratic grace to scandalous exile serves as a cautionary tale against vanity, superficial morality, and the perils of an upbringing lacking ethical substance. She embodies the consequences of a society that prioritizes appearances and status over genuine virtue. Through Maria, Austen explores the fragility of social respectability, the gendered double standards of the time, and the importance of moral education. In contrast to Fanny Price's quiet strength, Maria's fall demonstrates that without integrity, beauty and charm are not only insufficient, they are dangerous. Austen's nuanced portrayal of Maria does not condemn her without cause, but rather presents her as the product of a flawed system and a flawed self. Her story is both a personal tragedy and a reflection of a society that fails to equip its women for ethical autonomy.